Welcome to Pedal Progressions,
where progression is the obsession. Today, we are joined by one of my very good friends, my first president at the WNBA, who really showed me how to lead mountain biking stuff between group rides and trips and all that stuff. Mr. Kevin Allen. Kellen, why don't you tell us a little bit about the episode?
Yeah, Kevin Allen graced us with his former radio voice today, as you heard in the beginning. Kevin was the former WMMBA president for about a decade. In this episode, we discussed all the hard work that goes into main training and building new trails.
Main training?
Main training. We also go off on a tangent about what to do when you don't like your realtor. We talk about why people want to take pictures with Kevin and they're holding their baby. And we talk about the state of Michigan and mountain biking. Craig, why don't you tell you about stuff?
Hey, gang. Why don't you come see us out in the wild? We got the Richmond Ruckus coming up July 12th. So our crew is going to be running the microphones, pools, biking, swimming, pizza, beer if you know the right people, potentially. Come hang out with us. We're going to be on the microphones announcing that event. July 12th. Be there, be square, come ride your bike, come take a dip afterwards. Most of the gang, we'll call it 2/3 of the gang, is going to be...
And Kyle.
Oh, you're going to get the OG crew down in Bentonville for Bike Fest, Memorial Day. Come hang out if you're there and look out for pop-up episodes. Those are going to be short little snackable content bits that you guys are going to get with interesting folks that we meet at Bike Fest. Quick reminder, if you haven't bought it, you have until May 20th to get your Boyne Highland Season Pass. We want to ride downhill with you. You want to put your bike on a chairlift. Buy the pass. It's $190, I believe. That's nothing. Ride downhill with us. Get your pass. Finally, go check out our merch store. You need to click the link in the bio on Instagram. Head on through, get a jersey, get a t-shirt. Brian, what do you got in terms of sponsorships?
I'd like to say that we have our fantasy league. By the time this episode comes out, it will be too late to sign up. But if you did sign up, we're going to have our watch parties. You can come chill with us, put a microphone on you. We use some of the merch sales that we got from our last set of jerseys and shirts to buy some new wireless mics so we can do more out in the wild stuff with fans of the show or just random riders. Either way. I'd like to touch on our sponsors. We have 8th Day Gym. Sign up for that intro offer. We got some new machines there that are really awesome and I feel like are helping me out. I did my first sub 40-minute Luton lap today. I say it's because of the gym. So come out, do a class with me. A couple people have taken me up on the offer for the free class. It's a good time. The intro offer is $49 for unlimited classes for a month. Also, our big sponsor, Building Blocks Foundation. We have our golf outing coming up August 22nd. Make sure you get in on sponsoring a hole or putting a team in. I think I talked my dad into it, which would be pretty wild. Hopefully we'll have a team out there and be playing on the links too. We're all terrible. That's a lie. Craig and Kellen are actually pretty good. I'm just awful. I'm going to drag the whole team down. I want to give a shout out to Mike at North Country Cycle. My bike is currently not done to go for Memorial Day, and we leave a week from tomorrow. And he is jumping through hoops to get my bike ready for me and get the suspension rebuilt. So thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Also, Scott and Murray 10K, you know what you did. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Kellen, bring it home. Tell us about the social media.
Make sure you check us out on Instagram. Our name on there is @pedal_progressions_podcast. Our link tree is in the description. You can also email us at pedalprogressions@gmail.com. So without further ado, now here is El Presidente himself, Kevin Allen.
Well, we used to try to normalize the stuff, and what happened was we had a couple guests that were real low, and it just dropped the overall volume of the whole episode.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then it was like impossible to listen to.
And then I guess I'm probably going to clip as soon as I laugh for the first time.
We all do.
So preemptively, yeah.
It sounds strange, but could I just get my voice up in my headphones?
I cannot do that.
You cannot do that because
can't?
I hear you clearer. I hear you clearer than I hear myself.
That's how it always goes.
Okay, that's it.
You
It's
can't-
the hot seat. That's why I'm sitting over
You
here.
can't turn them up in that?
Not just him.
Oh.
It's the problem with being a drummer, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Like when I was a guitar player, I constantly could not hear myself when I was the guitar player. And everyone's like, "You're really loud." But then when you're the drummer, you just get everyone's mix.
Exactly right.
You can always hear yourself.
Oh, and when I actually have a mix that I could hear, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, wow, this is what it sounds like. I didn't know that. How cool is that?
Usually you just get your one instrument that you like kind of play with.
Yeah, it's like I just learned how to play with not hearing anybody, and I just make it up myself. So
You're a drummer in a band too, aren't you?
I've played with many bands. Yeah.
But-
I don't
but
play with
you're the
anybody.
drummer.
Yeah, the drummer. Yeah.
Nice.
Kevin's a good drummer.
45 years I played, so I'm kind of just getting going.
Rookie.
Yeah, rookie.
Have you been playing?
A little bit, not much. Just yeah.
That's the worst. Is like the reason I never ever play is because any kind of chops I had are gone.
Well, for me, it's kind of like, the great thing when you're a musician and you want to be in a band is playing with other musicians. The bad thing is you have to play with other musicians, and all their weird idiosyncrasies and their craziness and moody and, oh my God, the drama.
Scheduling just in general.
Scheduling, yeah. Oh, it's rehearsal tonight? Dude, seriously, really? Yeah, there are gigs tonight? Yeah, oh my God.
I mean, even doing a podcast with 3 hosts is...
Yeah.
We don't have to bring anything.
It's surprisingly hard.
You try to like set aside like one night, and then someone goes ahead and plans something good on that night. And you're like, dang it! Like we're missing Race League tonight.
Yep. But
Well, I'm honored that I'm the reason, I guess, that you were missing Race League. Yeah.
Well, it's dumb because they had a vote, and we moved it off of Thursday so we could do Ride and Grill.
Oh,
And both Craig and I voted for Wednesday nights,
okay.
but without thinking about that, we typically record on Wednesday nights.
it's the best, like, everybody's back from their weekend vacation.
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not, like, ready to leave for their next weekend's vacation. Does that make sense? So if you have two
that
people-
and in the
yeah.
riding world, everyone rides on Tuesdays and Thursdays, So there we go.
Callum's got dirt dogs on Tuesdays
Dirt
and
dogs on
gymnastics.
Tuesday.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got kid events pretty much.
I just got an
every
image
night.
of you in tights. That's just a weird thing. So,
It's called a leotard.
well, okay, tights. I don't know these. Whatever the term is these days, I don't know.
He's not dance. He's doing backflips.
He's doing backflips.
Well, here we go. Thursday grill and ride. Maybe that becomes parking lot podcast.
Oh, I love that. That's a great idea.
I was kind of hoping Taco Tuesday as well because Danielle talked to us
Yep.
about that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As soon as Kellen stops having class and doing backflips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
So when we
Good
sat
too.
down, I stupidly said, "Oh yeah, what do you think of this setup?" And then you went, "Oh, I've been on radio," and I feel very dumb.
No.
But tell me more about that. I'm super keen to hear more.
Oh, I mean, it was broadcasting. I worked at a recording studio for advertising. We did pretty much any national advertising that you heard around the country. We did all kinds of stuff, and about a lot of voiceover talent, a lot of celebrities and stuff like that came in there. And one day I went in to talk in the microphone and do a sound check. And I put the headphones on. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool, And I'm like, dude, you got nice pipes or something. I'm like, whatever. And I just kind of like dug it. And I'm like, maybe I'll go into broadcasting. And the year I went into broadcasting, went into radio, they deregularized radio station ownerships. Meaning in the old days, if there was 12 radio stations in Grand Rapids, there was 12 different owners. Maybe they would have 2 of the radio stations were owned by one company, what have you. But what happened in that year, anybody could own a radio station, and all these big companies started buying it up. So when the big companies were buying it up, they were doing simulcasts and recordings and, before the days of digital and stuff like that. And the first year when I got into broadcasting, 285,000 jobs were lost in that industry. Man, I tell you what, I picked a good time to get into a business. Yeah.
285,000
roughly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And then I decided, I bounced around place to place and decided I didn't want to move anymore, and I liked food with my meals. And so I got out of broadcasting. Yeah. There we go.
But you were the host of so many bike events.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
There was a time where like you and I spoke at every single meeting.
Yeah, that was fun. That was some good times.
Let's have a bunch of beers and then like just guess what we're going to talk about.
I don't know. We'll make it up. Come on, let's do it.
I mean, that only happened once.
Yeah, well.
And I think you know which one I'm talking about at the Bob.
Oh,
So is this you were supposed to read the book and do a report the next day, and neither of you read the book, so you just kind of winged it?
No, I think it was just the acoustics in the Bob was just notorious, just terrible. Couldn't hear anything, and it was just loud and just, yeah.
I think there was high-proof beer, and we all thought there was going to be food, and there was not.
Yeah, there was no food.
We got there early to set up the meeting and everything, and we were getting beers that were high-volume beers with no food.
Yeah.
And then by the time it came time for us to speak in front of everybody, and it was right after the IMBA World Summit, and we were supposed to like do our homework and tell everyone what Bentonville was like. That was like right when Bentonville started.
Yeah.
And we were up there, and I was just swaying, like looking at moving lights. It was bad.
Yeah, that was one of those nights.
So you guys are referring to one of the WMMBA meetings?
Yeah.
Or West Michigan Mountain Bike Association?
Alliance.
So, yeah.
Alliance.
Oh, yeah,
Gotta get that right now. You got the old school shirt on tonight.
Look at that, Kellen. You had Sharpie on your hand to cheat. He's wearing the shirt.
That's why I wore the shirt, so we all know what it is. Yeah.
That's a
So-
classic, too.
It is a classic one.
So you were president of the Alliance. How long were you president for?
I was president for 9 years. Before that, I was vice president for a year. And my story, everyone talks about their when did you first fall in love with mountain biking? And I go back to when did you first start biking? And I was 10 years old when I finally got up the nerve to get on the bike. They were always saying, get on the bike and you're going to love it. And I'm like, I don't want to ride. Okay. And I finally got on it, and I was gone all the time after that. I'd do laps around. I'm from Detroit, so not a lot of mountains there. And back in the day, it was kind of different time. We didn't have mountain bikes and stuff. But I'd go do laps around. It's about a mile around, and I just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. And as we got older, my friends, that's how we got around. It was our only mode of transportation. It was great when in Detroit we would say, hey, we're going to stay in our backyard in the summertime, tented out, and good night, Mom. Yeah, okay, see you in the morning. That sounds great. And 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going out the back gate, and we're riding to the lake shore, which is about 8 miles from where my house was. In the middle of the night, we'd watch the sunrise. We'd get donuts and chocolate milk and come back and get into the tent. And all of a sudden, a little tap on the tent. Oh, you want breakfast? Oh, yeah. How'd you sleep? Oh, we were great. We did that one time for 3 nights straight. We did not go to sleep. We all worked together at the same fruit market at that time. And we went to work that day, the 4th day that we're completely awake. And my hostess pie, the little snack pie thing, I swear to God it was talking to me. I swear. You should never do that. And the grapes were moving. They were dancing. So we all went home and we said we're never going to do that again. So, but anyway, biking, going back to that, we used to, when we got back into biking, my wife Ruth and I, we were over in Howell, and we used to go out to Island Lake, and this was, I don't know what year, those early 90s. And I had this cool Schwinn Cimarron bike. And it was set up for racing, and it was built in 1988. So racing bike in 1988. This was, who knows? It was completely rigid and steel. It was great, but I love that thing. And I'd go out there, I'd ride around. I'd go, man, I wish there was people that I could ride with. I wish there was other people like this that we could build more trails and do events and stuff like that. And then kids came in the way. We got back. We did other stuff. We got back into got back into biking after that, and into mountain biking. And I came across the WMMBA, went to a meeting, and there's Martin Hall standing there, and he's going, it was like a mountain biker's altar call. It was kind of funny. You got to step up. We need you to stand up and step forward. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And I'm like, where's everybody else? I'm thinking I'm going to be missed behind, and I'm going to be, we don't need your help. But I just was eager. I mean, this was like a dream come true. And so I just dove right in and loved every minute of it, We did some pretty cool stuff, got the Merrill Trail out there, and Upper Mac. We got a new chapter out on the lakeshore, Memba, during my time, and it was a lot of fun. Went to Bentonville, had some great stories about that, right, Brian? Yeah.
Couple angry balls.
Couple angry ball stories. We kind of hashed out the same story about 14 times that night. Yeah.
Literally the same story 14 times in the hotel room. We were so bad that Doug Kyle told us to shut up, and Doug Heiser fell asleep with his drink in his hand, and we tried to steal
Tried
it
to steal
from him.
Just before I got it, hey, what are you doing? He grabbed it, and I'm like,
He
oh
was
my.
snoring.
Snoring, yes.
Mouth
Out.
open, snoring.
Man.
But we ran out of cider at Angry Orchard in Fireball, so we were trying to. None of us could drive. We're trying to do anything.
Yep.
First time I ever even saw Ben LeDuc drunk.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So such serious times. It was business, of course. We're there. Yeah.
I think my favorite part of that whole little thing there was after we did that. This is when we we told the story in another episode where we got stuck at a breakfast table with Gary Fisher. And we're like, oh, that's why he was sitting alone. Nobody wanted to sit with.
Once you lined them up, yeah.
Just there, you're like, oh, okay, wow. And then going to Ryan Leach's, he did like this like motivational, more people on bikes, breathing exercises and stuff. And we're both super hungover. And he's like, stand on one leg and close your eyes. I'm like, I can't.
I said, I think I'm still drunk. Yeah, that was, once again, it was a business thing. So.
Somebody hand me another cider. It'll balance me out.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think I made a couple of comments in the middle of it. There were some Snickers in there. But it was cool. I got to go up and see Ryan Leach again. I hadn't seen him in forever. And it was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, how you doing? I'm like, I've been better.
So what was the best part about being president?
There's such a great community, and we always hear this, it's the community, what have you, but it really was. And I'm really more of a grassroots type of guy. So many stories of, like the one story, what year it was, I don't remember, but it was probably mid-late April, and we were getting the trails ready and looked really good. And a big storm came through and knocked a whole bunch of trees down. And Ben LeDuc, who was the head trail coordinator at the time, sent a thing on Facebook. He says, hey, I'm going out with the chainsaw. Can anybody come out and help? Anybody want to come out and help? Please do so, And I started promoting. I started, pushing it out to other people. By the time we got there, we had like 50 people in the parking lot. And this was at Merrill Trail. And we went down to Luton Park. We cleaned up Luton and everything in between. Everything was wide open by the end of that night. And I mean, it was a mess. And then Grand Rapids Bicycle Company, Jill Martindale came over with pizza and beer, and it was just like everybody just came out of the woodwork. And when you experience something like that, it's really exciting. And then when we were building Merrill, every Wednesday we would do a build, and I would type in the little thing, hey, bring your shovels, bring your gloves, bring your whatever. This is what we're doing tonight. And one of my favorite experiences when I said, don't bring your tools, don't bring your gloves, bring your bikes, we're riding. And then it was Neil Sharphorn Jr. did this whole cooking spread, this whole thing, and we just went out and we had fun. We've been working for so many months to get this trail open, and now we were out there riding it. And it's just, when you have those types of experiences, it just, wow, it's really cool stuff. Yeah.
Do you have one thing that you're most proud of that you got done as the president?
Oh, wow. No, probably Merrill, that was just a really exciting thing. I remember when that came about, I don't take the credit for it at all. But when that came about, I remember a phone call.
Your name's on the lease.
It is on the lease for 99 years at the time. I tell you what, is that your trail? Yeah, it is. My name's on it. So anyway, Martin Hall called me one time. He says, Kevin, you got to get out here. I said, what's up? He says, you got to see what we really have here, and that's when we did the whole Merrill Trail. We went to Merrill and we said, hey, I understand you want to be in the outdoors. This is in your backyard. Would you be willing to do this? And we just put it all together, and it was amazing. Once again, a grassroots thing came together, and we made that trail happen. And it was, boy, that's just a really cool experience. Yeah.
Merrill's definitely my favorite local trail
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
Especially with the new updates they've done to it.
Oh, I wrote it last week for the first time, and I was just blown away, going, what the, wow, no kidding. Mm-hmm. Following Doug up with his e-bike, I'm like, dude, I used to be the climber here, but anyway, we won't go into that story, that subject, but.
I think those revisions, though it might not be perfected at this moment in time,
right.
It sets the stage for what's to come.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got now downhill, directional, flow-style trails. You can build a proper jump on everything. It gets me really excited.
It's what could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I just like big berms. and I cannot lie.
And my other brothers can deny.
I spent 17 hours shoveling berms that I could barely walk after that. It was not pleasant. I'm glad Nick Slayton and Brian Gritma, me and Justin were in a dark place on Saturday at about 2 p.m. We're like, we're not going to get done. Yeah. we're not going to finish this. And we put out the back call, and everyone's like, oh, Craig, I'm buying a house. And Kellen's like, oh, I'm doing whatever, gymnastics or something. And everyone can't come. And then all of a sudden, Slayton comes up, and Gritma brings some pizza. And we're like, we got all the top section of berms done finally.
If you want to know my least favorite thing that I did,
Yeah, on the flip side, what's the thing
was building berms at Richmond Park. That's when I picked up Aaron Rodgers from Rock Solid Construction. We picked him up, and he says, all right, what you need to do is just take the shovel, and it was clay, and just slap it. You don't want to stamp on it because it'll all stick and stay up. So you have to slap and poke. I'm telling you this. You know that. But anyway, I didn't know that. I'm just going, boom, and I just going to town. The next morning, I couldn't move my arms. I'm like, I can't do certain things that you need to do when you go in the morning, if you get my drift. I'm like, wipers, help, But that was one of my least favorite things.
At the Wallfield revision, you guys had learned from your berm building experience at Richmond, and you guys were like cracking beers, watching like two of us slap the berm. You're like, you guys are doing a great job.
Well, someone's got to supervise.
I'm going to take this. Walk behind compactor.
Oh, I love that compactor. That was cool
was the
stuff.
best.
That was really cool.
Yeah, Kevin was out there when we did the revisions on No Problems. It was only like a few of us. There was the six of us that worked. Not even six of us that built the thing, and a few volunteers. Kevin was there, and
Andy came in. Remember that?
Andy, Mike Rogan, Kyle Copeland.
Yeah, right.
And then myself ran the excavator, and I did 1% of that.
Yeah.
I did a lot of handwork, and then Bill Parker was out there helping. You came out and helped. Doug Kyle came out and helped. Yeah. Other than that, there wasn't a ton because it was Memorial Weekend.
Well, we also kind of wanted to keep it on the down low, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a little controversy. We won't go into that. But anyway, the fun thing about that trail was the Perrin Trails, and Perrin donated a nice chunk for it, and I still have the check in the big check.
Oh, it's a big check.
It's a big check.
That's so exciting.
And I actually walked into the bank with that check, and I said, can I cash this? Yeah, I have a picture of me doing that. That was kind of fun. So,
and we did that whole revision for $1,600 or something like that.
Yeah, we did pretty well. And most of it was rental of the equipment, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, it was the compactor and the Mini X.
Yeah.
And it was a not trail size Mini X. It was pretty good size.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
Was any dirt brought in for that, or was that all dirt that was dug up from there?
It's all right
there.
Yeah. Just moving it around.
We were originally just going to update the one trail, and then we're going to update the next trail, and that turned into what it is now, which was a huge improvement, but not what the drawing looked like at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once you get boots on the ground, things tend to change and adapt.
Well, yeah, exactly right.
And the grading just wasn't right otherwise. It went from something you had to pedal the whole way down, like the other two trails, to what you've ridden now, where you can coast literally from the top all the way to the bottom, clear every jump, hit every berm without pedaling.
Yeah.
The two top berms need a little work right now because everyone hates berms. But once those are redone, Justin's been doing a good job of having the digging rides out there and just working down the trail. And those two berms, and then the next thing after the third berm are the next things going on. And then we can finally finish that trail because we got rained out and just couldn't finish it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fun stuff. Good times.
You were there for the 50 miles in
5
years.
In 5 years, yeah, that's right.
They walked up with the dragon map you got to see this.
Oh, yeah. That was in 2011, and we did this whole big promotion, 50 trail miles in 5 years. And, we a little bit here, a little bit there, what have you. And we did this press release somewhere downtown, and we had a pretty good turnout. It was really nice. It was a lot of fun. And there was this guy standing there, and he looked like he had something he wanted to say, kind of antsy looking, and I'm like, well, anybody else want to say anything? And the guy pulls this big map out. He says, you want 50 miles? I'll give you 45 right here. We're like, oh my gosh. And that was really kind of like the start of where the Dragon Trail came from. I mean, that's when it was the idea, the concept. Then it went through, can we do this? Can this be sustainable? How can we do it? And I'll tell you what, in my opinion now, there's other people, and I hate to, excluding other people, but some of the people I just don't know. But Martin Hall really grabbed that one by the horns. And I just, to me, I don't want to take credit for so much stuff, on my term and what I did and what have you. I look at the people who blazed the trail before me, the Rick Pleitz and the Martin Halls and the Tenor, those guys like that. These were the guys that were out there just going through and making these things happen way before my time,
Sitting in all those meetings.
Oh my gosh.
So that project started with Martin Hall before you were ever president?
I was vice president, and it was just kind of like, I said to Martin when we did the trail opening, the official opening last year, and I said, "Do you remember that story?" And I said, "Do you remember what you said?" He said, "No, what did I say?" I said, "Oh, this will never happen." That's what he said. And I'm like, "Yeah, well, prove you wrong, brother. I'm glad it did." So it's kind of cool stuff.
I remember being in the board meetings, and Martin would bring his printout books that he would have.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be following along, and he'd call us out on it. It's the only time in my adult life I felt like I was in high school again. We're not on that page anymore. Oh.
Did he call on people to take turns reading?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I think we
Kinda.
It strikes a chord with me what you said about, you can't take credit for all this, but I actually want to kind of flip that on you a little bit, because I would say the best presidents or leaders are in charge of putting the right people with the right resources and the right tools to do an awesome job. So you did do a good job, and we thank you for it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate that. Yeah. But I don't want to say it was me that did it, But it is my name on the mayoral lease. So there we go.
You got that one for what, another 80 years?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. How long's Merrill been open? I don't know, 10 years now. So yeah, I got
You should go talk to him about those pickleball courts. Either the surveyor messed up or they just didn't care.
That's right.
One of the biggest memories that I think that we accomplished was the change from spandex to baggies and flats. We used to be out at the meetings and stuff, and it was just team jerseys and spandex and carbon soled shoes, and that was it.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, we started buttering Kevin up on flat pedals and baggy shorts.
Yeah.
And once we got the El Presidente on board, things really started snowballing.
Well, I am such a fashionista, so you got to understand that,
I think you still have the same shoes.
I probably do. Yeah. I have some of the same shorts. There's this one pair of club rides that was my first pair of club rides that I got, and they're probably 15 years old. I still love those things. The pockets have holes in them, and I just don't put stuff in that pocket, and go to the other one, and yeah.
These shorts, I can't put a key in the right pocket.
See, there we go.
Yeah, I got a couple pairs of shorts, but I always go to my favorite one.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to design a quality pair of riding shorts.
Yeah.
But I got a pair of 100% at the Great Lakes Outpost. It was their tent sale. And I discovered at the end that the pocket sits very close to your kind of knee, lower thigh area.
Yeah.
And your phone doesn't weigh a lot. But if you lift it 1,000 times, it becomes a lot heavier.
Well, on my phone, it's an iPhone, and if you tap it 3 times on the back, it'll take a picture. So if you're really riding fast, you're like, what the hell are all these pictures in here? What is this? What is it? I don't know.
Must have been a fun night.
Yeah, wow. The hell you doing, boy? Jeez. Oh, man.
We've been on a whole bunch of trips together, too.
Yeah.
From the man trips up in Marquette.
Oh, man.
Bentonville Bike Fest. You came down on my birthday trip down to
Tennessee, North Carolina. Yeah, that was fun.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The haunted house in Traverse City.
Haunted house in Traverse City. Yeah, I remember that one.
Courtney got you.
Yeah, one of our trips was just when we were doing the camp out before the time trial, and we would do the bike Olympics, and we would do all kinds of little things. What was the one we had we went down the hill, then you had to come back in. You could either chug the beer before you went down the hill or after. When I'm like, well, I don't want to be, burping it up and riding up, but I got to the top, I couldn't breathe. I was going to drown myself. It felt like
that was my favorite event.
And then were you there when we did the wheelies at midnight? That was probably one of my favorite times. Now, the people in the tent across the street from us, I don't think they enjoyed it as much as we did. Yeah.
I believe that came up on the Zach Bowinski, Bob Hammond episode.
Yeah.
Talking about the people yelling at us from across the road. The year we did the Bike Olympics, the people it got a spot right in the middle of all of us.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Right.
They came and they basically did adult things. And then they left because we were cheering them on from the fire.
That didn't last long. Yeah.
It didn't last long?
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a group of like 10 campsites, and they were just stuck in the middle of all of us.
Yeah.
Unfortunate event for them.
Some peaceful nights together. I mean, it was weird because it was for the time trial, and I thought every site would be taken, and how they got that last site, and they had no idea. I felt bad for them.
They probably planned it way in advance.
They probably did.
Get away and
Was there one vacation? Like,
Who's going to be out here in April? Come on,
The event you're speaking of, though, is we had this island of campsites, and behind one of them, there's a trail that goes down a really steep hill to a boat launch, and you had to go down to the dock, touch the dock, turn around, and go back up. And the race was one beer in that loop, in whatever order you felt fit to do it in.
Right.
you have to chug first, right?
You chug first.
Yeah,
You
that
have
sucks
to.
too.
I mean,
There's a
trying
lot
to
of
chug while you're
carbonation.
out of breath?
Yeah.
I did half and half. It worked out okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't great.
Oh, so you could split it.
Yeah, you could do it. You could
Any
chug it on
order.
the way down. Really. I mean, it was, that's what I would have done. I would have put it in a fanny pack or something,
So it
and
spilled the whole way.
Yeah, somebody just puts it in their camelback.
yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah.
just takes sips along the way.
Exactly. Big straw hanging out.
Would have been Joel. We did the bunny hot contest. There was some flip cup kind of thing. There was a beer pong type game. It was Courtney's beer Olympics. She was very proud of
I think I
this.
had my ramp for the long jump.
Yep.
Is there any chance that we can bring that back in November?
For the bootleg at your property. Yes.
I have the high jump and the long jump, well, the jump and the bar for both of those.
Let's please do that.
I've
You're
alre-
invited automatically.
Right,
And if
sounds
you
good.
can hear the sound of my voice, you're also invited. Maybe I just made a mistake. We'll find out. You might have to bring a camper.
Yeah, what's the address?
I've already gotten responses on Facebook and stuff with timestamps of us talking about the bootleg in November.
Awesome.
The organizer, I'm assuming you did not hear the last episode, but the organizer that started the event, who lives in Portugal now, is coming back for the 20th anniversary.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So we're doing a whole bunch of fun things and making it a whole weekend event up there.
Nice.
Man, that reminds me, we did a bunch of Iceman trips.
Yeah, we did a bunch of Iceman trips. Yeah, that's exactly right. We
I forgot about those.
well, sometimes it's a good thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for one of those trips you guys stayed in the house, but I was too cheap to stay in the house with you, so I camped in a hammock outside, and it was snow and freezing. And
Kevin did not stay on that trip.
Oh, he wasn't
That
that
was
one?
Kevin Hyde and Laura Pippo and a couple other people. He was camping, I believe. Yeah, that was when we were on Long Lake, is the year you're talking about. Which we had been on Long Lake with the haunted house that
haunted
we
house, yeah,
mentioned
right.
earlier.
Yeah.
Which was just this crazy house from probably 1910.
Yeah. Gorgeous, beautiful house.
Log cabin.
Yeah.
It's where we taught Michael butt darts when he was 10 years old. He was running and sliding on his knees, dropping quarters out of his butt crack.
yeah, why don't you tell people how to play for the people that don't know how to play butt darts?
Yeah, well, how many quarters do you put in there? I don't know.
You have pants on, for the record. You take 10 quarters and you put them in your butt cheeks and you walk a specific distance. Everyone's the same. And you drop them into a bowl at the end, or cup, depending on how wild you want to get. And the person with the most quarters wins the round. And then you keep playing.
It was almost an Olympic sport, so I heard at one point, but they kind of frowned against it. So.
It's harder than you think.
Yeah.
And watching other people walk with 10 quarters in their butt is very hilarious.
I was going to say, the mental picture going out of my head right now is...
I learned this at a family reunion. There was that, and then there was Julie Whalen, Skirts in the Dirt's fame, mountain bike Hall of Famer also.
Yeah.
She's very vegan. And Kevin Hyde fell asleep with his mouth open on the couch in the living room. and she grabbed a sausage that who knows how long it had been breakfast probably. It was at night. And she has a sausage with a plastic bag on her hand, and she's rubbing it over his lips, in and around the opening.
She wouldn't touch it. She didn't. Yeah, she had
That's a true test. If he were to open his mouth, then
This is our first time staying with like Keith's wife Emily.
Yeah.
Like, this is her first trip with us. Adam and Michelle's first trip with us.
Yeah.
And Michelle's like, "What the hell? I ate literally 6 pounds of cookies in one day. I got so sick. I almost couldn't race."
oh my gosh.
Did you ever tell him about our other favorite game to play on bike trips? The Spot It?
Kevin has not seen Spot It yet.
No.
That's
He has not been on a bike trip because he bought some land and built a cabin by himself.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Ooh,
Up in Baldwin. Yeah.
sweet.
I said to a builder, build me a shell and I'll do the rest. And I pulled all my permits and all the wires, plumbing, every board, every light, every you name it is mine. I put in there. But I have about a half acre, a little bit more than a half acre piece of land across the street from me. And I'm putting in a very tight mountain bike course up there. And
nice.
it's very tight. Ruthie says it's too tight, but to get around there. But it's fun. It'll hand you your butt because you start up here and you go down about 60 feet to the very bottom. Then you got to work your way back up. And it's all tight turns and what have you. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Did you know how to finish your own house and all that, or did you kind of learn as
No.
you went?
Yeah.
You just learn as you go?
Google, YouTube.
YouTube's the best, the best thing ever.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad had 3 weeks of vacation. And he would say, okay, we're going to go somewhere and then for 2 weeks. And then after that, we'll come back, we'll work on the house. Or we'll work on the house, then go on vacation. We always like that better because then the work's out of the way. But anyway, and we just did stuff. And I mean, when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I'm so bored. But I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. And it kind of put my appreciation for, taking initiative and just learning stuff and doing it, figuring it out as you go. And I just always gravitated to that. And, I figured out how to become president of the West Michigan Mountain Biking Alliance too. So
By raising your hand.
by raising my hand, come on, pick me. Oh, no one else is getting picked. Oh, I guess I'm the only sucker here. I guess, But,
So, is it in Baldwin there a special rule or something that you have to finish a house within so long?
well, most places when you pull a permit, you have a time frame, and it was 6 months.
Okay.
And
So you
it
had
was-
to learn a lot of stuff in 6 months.
Yeah, it was.
That seems fast.
It is fast. It goes fast. It's real. And then I did an extension on a couple of them, and it was about 6 months, 7 months that I did it. Yeah, I was working very long days. When you get up at 7 o'clock and you're working all day, and I'm working in between. I sell real estate, so I'm taking calls on phones. I sold a cabin a block over from me when I was there, so I had one day I had 3 showings there. It was kind of like cool. Tuesday at 4 o'clock, Tuesday at 11 o'clock, Tuesday at 2. So I'm out there pounding and cutting boards, and I clean up really quick, walk over, show, hey, so here's the bathroom, and here's the kitchen, and then I go back and start sawing and moving stuff, and then go back and do it again. I did it 3 times back and forth, just changed up really quick, and worked out very well. But you're tired, and you got to stop working, and it's like 7:30. You drop a screw, and you're like, yeah. So
And anything you punch, you have to fix
yeah,
tomorrow.
and really, when I put solid wood, siding on the inside, you punch that. You don't want to do that. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Kevin sold us this house.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yes. And he sold my other house.
Your little place and
Yeah. The little cave.
a little cave. That was a fun time. Yeah. Fun stuff.
So you have your own, I'm blanking on what it's called, your own realtor company, or you started your own?
We're all independent
Okay.
contractors, and my legal business name is Kevin Allen Group, and that's Keller Williams Realty. I've been there for 23 years, so yeah. So trying to figure that thing out too. So.
But you kind of started that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got to hang your hat somewhere,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people go independent and go off on their own, but you have a good structure behind you, and they don't mess around with me. I don't mess around with them, and we just, they leave me alone. I do my thing, and life is good.
Nice.
Good stuff.
So give us the state of the industry.
Oh my gosh, we have to go there now. I was just having
That's not
fun.
very nice.
Well, I have a vested interest now.
Well, yeah.
I just bought a house for the first time ever.
I heard up in Traverse City.
Slightly terrified.
That's a hell of a commute, man. Dude.
It is. But I guess, what are you seeing kind of in the Grand Rapids area?
Yeah.
Are things looking good? Are they stable?
Well, I mean, we kind of have, shifting gears a little bit. We kind of have a perfect storm going on, where there was falsely low interest rates not too long ago. And, 3% people are in there. They bought their house at $150,000, 10 years ago. And now they want it to move up, in 5 to 10 years and, to a $250,000, maybe $300,000 house. Well, now that house is $400-something thousand, and the interest rates are near 7. And by the way, there's not a lot of inventory. So anytime something pops up, that's going really quick. So there's a lot of people just holding back, sitting on the sides. There's a lot of business going on, but it's also going fast, but going slow at the same time, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
I had grandparents that recently passed away, and they just had to sell their house. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they listed that price, and I saw the price, and I'm like, holy cow, that's not going to sell. Like, there's no way. It's super dated. And,
right.
But that house wasn't on the market for more than 24 hours, and it was sold for asking price. And I'm like, wow.
So is that
I can't believe somebody paid that price for the house, but yeah, it's crazy what stuff is going for.
When I got in the business, $85,000, $89,000 for our first, it was like the spot where it was like, it's a decent house to look at, and now it's like, $300,000, so I don't know.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
How quick does the average sale kind of happen? Like nowadays?
Nowadays, if you're going more than 2 weeks, you've done something wrong. You can't overshoot on a price on a house. It's location, price, and condition on everything. Because if location's off, it's the price you're going to do something with. If the condition's off, it's the price. And so people are asking a premium for not a premium house. It's gonna be out there for a little while, and but somebody will be out there. It only takes one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to completely derail mountain bike conversation.
We'll be back on real estate talk. Join us next week when we're talking about home equity loans.
It's a new interest, and
get Hersick in there.
I've learned a ton in a very short period of time. So it's kind of a
stressful,
a new
right?
interest. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's
until you know that you don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They
don't teach this in high school.
We looked at the house. We went to Honey Creek, and we found out we were getting the house in a day.
Yeah.
And we knew that we wanted this house on this road. It was a mountain biker's house. I ride past Marty's house every day that I go into town.
Yeah.
I see him and Janet, but we knew we had to go over asking for it, but. I mean, the house has doubled in value since we've been here.
No doubt about that.
Solid decision.
Yeah, we have the smallest house in Rockford, which is not a bad thing to have.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
The ratio of real estate agents to mountain bikes is real high.
Yeah.
Probably the single highest ratio of any profession.
I would argue engineers.
That was next. I was going to say real estate agents and engineers seem to be mountain bikers.
Yeah, right. Well, we all think alike,
And then doctors.
We like dirt.
And dentists that keep Yeti afloat.
And specialized, right, Callan?
Yep.
You got any riding plans for coming up this summer? Now that your house in Baldwin's kind of settled in?
Not really. I'm just trying to get back to some of the trails. It's wild when you're kind of off doing other things. All of a sudden you go back to a trail that you used to love, and you go, wow, I miss this. It's like hanging out with an old friend. Doug and I went down to Yankee Springs a couple weeks back, and it was like, man, for how much everything changes, that was just the same trail that I've always loved. And it just was, it felt so good. It was like, it's like a warm blanket, a nice, a warm biscuit or something. You just go, man, it feels like home. And I love that. And that's the other thing about with trails, and we talk about people doing trails and trail days and getting involved and what have you. And, the most you can. It's not for everybody, but, if you can do it, get out and do it. And the reason for it is because I can tell you so many times I ride through trails at a certain section and nobody knows about this. I remember when that trail went in and how much it took, like where we had a spot where there was just no way to get around it, and we made a way to get around it, where we found big boulders that was our base, and then we built on top of that, you know. And the one story down at Yankee Springs where I wore shorts where we were cutting through brand new trails, and this was like when all the pickers were out. Oh my God! I mean, just don't wear pants, okay? And so went out and did the the trail day there, and I just remember that time going when I was riding the other day. I'm like, man, I remember putting this trail in. This was one of the most painful things I've ever had, and stay away from the poison ivy. Yeah, watch that too.
Trail days sound like a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but you're right next to your buddy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And it's so fun to just talk and you step back and evaluate a feature or a section. And it's, if you haven't gone to one, sign up. Just show up. It is super, super fun. Everybody's really friendly.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, real trail days when you got like 30 people there, and everyone's standing around talking and waiting for lunch after. You don't get quite as much done as you do on the specialty ones when there's 4 people there. Digging all the hard stuff.
Sounds like a call for help here.
Not babies. Well, no, it's that fine edge, right? Like we do the skills area or even the wall field thing, and sure, it would be nice to have 20 people there, but at the same time, all you do is take your really good builders and you make them babysit.
Yeah.
And then you have to fix it later. So like it's super cool, but when you're doing like fine tuning real features and stuff, it's better with less.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Until 2:00 on Saturday when Justin and I are dying. Then it was not, but it was really hard. At like Callan and I spent so much time at the skills area building things, and I tell people it used to be a forest through there, and they're like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we removed a lot of autumn olive through that thing.
Yeah, having the inside stories of how stuff was built is it's that inside knowledge that only you know. We used to have a feature over the log, and we moved so much dirt for that landing. And I remember Kyle, our old host, he got tired of moving dirt, so he started bringing old used abrasive in like 55-gallon drums, and we were pouring that as like the base for that landing. And no one knows that it's a whole bunch of old used abrasive for the base for that landing, but us. And
good Phil.
It's the inside stories like that everyone's.
And that's the memories, and that's what really, you have a whole different appreciation when you're out on the trails when you have those types of memories.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I think I have some of my best friends I met at a trail day, on a trail, in a trailhead. I mean, Brian, we always laugh with you. It's like, you walk over, you meet somebody brand new, and next week you're hanging out with them in, North Carolina or something like that. I got a buddy down there who's got a place. He said to come on down. Okay, cool. And you just know people, you meet people. And it's just, that's the great thing about our sport. I don't know if other sports are like this. I don't know if runners are like this or roadies. They just look angry all the time. But anyway,
Shots fired.
but we just see we have a camaraderie. And everybody's happy. Everybody just seems happy when they're out there. When they get done, they're just like, man, that was great. Let's go do it again. And that's just, why wouldn't you want to do something like this?
Do you remember that one time when we met the couple in Marquette? Reggie.
Oh my gosh.
It was like 90 degrees on the guys' trip, and we're all camping up there, and this dude rolls in with this like 6-wheel 1970s camper thing. Rest in peace, Reg, by the way. But then we just like hit it off with him and his wife Carol. We're just sitting there talking, and eventually basically everyone goes to bed except like 3 of us. Yeah. And we ran out of bourbon. And then all of a sudden, magically, another bottle of bourbon showed up, and we couldn't get it open because we were drunk. And the cork got pushed into the bottle, so then the next thing was we had to finish the bottle.
That's what Reg said.
It would go bad.
You can't take it home.
That's when I left. I was like, Brian, you can handle this one. This is you.
Oops, I pushed it in.
We finished it.
Oh, my God.
It was like 2 a.m, and it was so hot. We were staying in the van camping and stuff, and I just went and took the hottest shower I possibly could in the campground thing. I time traveled, so I have no recollection of how long I was in there. The hot water doesn't run out there. But I knew if I just got my body as hot as I could, the 90 degrees would feel nice and cool. I had that kind of drunk reasoning going on. It worked.
Yeah.
I slept like a baby and could ride the next day. And then the next day we rode, was when we met Todd Poquette
Oh, yeah,
and Danny
right.
Hill, and they took us on the Margie course.
Was that the trip? Oh my gosh! Yeah, that was a brutal hot day. And then we're sitting at the top, at the upper level in Black Rocks, and we were just dehydrated and tired. And every one of us would put our feet up on the back, the thing on the chair, the rail, the foot rail of the
bar
chair.
under. I know where this is going because I've done this hundreds of times.
And you hear somebody go, "Ow!" And somebody was getting a cramp, and then we're like, "Aha, yeah, dumbass!" And then somebody else would do it, and then everybody did it at one point.
We're all standing around, bending over, stretching our calves, like hamstring.
You get the cramp that starts, but your toe gets hooked on that bar, so you can't straighten it out, so
exactly.
you're stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck there. Yeah, that was fun.
This could be an Element commercial.
We want your sponsorship, Element.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, we all use hydration.
We all cramp.
Yeah, we do all cramp. I
We all
cramped
do cramp.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Now the only time I feel like I ever get to ride with you is on grill and ride nights on Thursdays, and the problem lately has been nobody knows what time anyone's getting there.
Yeah, right.
And like 2 weeks ago I got there and I was like the first one there and there was no one to ride with. Last week I got there and literally everyone was riding out of the woods and like changing, and I'm like, oh sweet.
Yeah, well, we got to remedy that. We'll make sure we do that.
Well, you guys get on this, you got to drive from Granville.
Yeah. Well, if you go from Granville to Rockford, and if it's past 3:30, you might as well wait till 6 o'clock.
I'm
I
coming
know.
from Granville, too.
Oh, see? Well, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, and so do I. Then I get there at 6 because I have to come home and grab my stuff and then go there. And you guys are like, oh yeah, we got here at 3:30. Doug will get there at 1. Like, oh, I burned up my e-bike battery.
It was 45 minutes for me to get here today. 20-minute drive. Yeah.
I'm looking forward, and let's knock wood. Hopefully, it happens that Johnson Park does come to fruition. And read it in the online the other day that they're looking to make 6 miles out there. So that's
what I heard.
That's pretty exciting. I could ride from my backyard, my garage to Johnson Park, and I've been looking for that. We were told in the past that would never happen. And when I was the president, I would have probably maybe 3 or 4 emails sent to me. Can you build something in Johnson Park, Johnson Park, Johnson Park? And we were told, and I understand, they make money at the parks, to keep the parks going, by renting out the pavilions and such like that. I get that, there was not enough parking and stuff, but they've made those changes, and I guess we're going to make something happen. And I'm really looking forward to that. Well, like I said, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
We had a very in-depth conversation for like 15 minutes about it in the last podcast that never came to fruition.
Yeah,
see?
I think it got cut to like 15 seconds.
15 seconds, okay.
About halfway into it, I'm saying things I shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say something, give out top secret messages, things like that. So
the Cliff Notes, or the summary, is it's a start.
it's a start.
And it opens up the door
Yeah.
for potential and new trails and really cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
So we're excited about it.
Well, there's definitely a need in that area, and I think that park in particular, there's trails to it and from, whether you're going from coming from Grand Rapids or you're coming from Byron Center, it doesn't matter, or even over in Jenison or every point in between, you could ride your bike to the trail. I mean, we all have to put our bikes on a vehicle and drive somewhere. It's nice when you don't have to do that.
I don't have to
like
do that.
certain people are sitting at this table. Yeah,
It feels wasteful,
it does feel. Yeah, right. Yeah,
especially if you drive a ridiculous vehicle.
yeah.
For the record, I drive, so I still have tools and stuff at the trailhead. And batteries.
That's true.
We did the trifecta a bunch when we were both on the board. There's a similar thing coming back possibly this year.
Really?
My next door neighbor is on the board of trustees for the Cannon Township, and they're bringing back what do you want to call it? The Cannon Bike and Outdoor Festival
Okay.
with camping at Cannonsburg
Wow.
and gravel riding, mountain bike riding, trail running, kayaking, and he's shooting for like mid-July for this year.
Whoa, this
Is this official or is this just speculation right now?
they better start getting official if they're going to do it in July.
July?
Yeah, that comes pretty quick. That'd be great, though. That'd be a fun event, you know.
I have not talked to Todd in a couple days, but he asked me to help get a couple other people that were pretty involved in it.
So is this a recruiting tactic here is what we're trying to do?
If everyone's excited about the idea of this.
Oh, let me check my schedule, get back with you. How's that?
Yeah.
I would like to
I
see.
like that concept.
We'll put a pin in it.
Pin in it.
Follow up. We're gonna circle back.
Wow, you do work in corporate America.
Oh
don't you?
my God, the most corporate.
I would like to see the best of Canton Township, like Olympics. Like you have a bike race, and then you have a kayak race, and you can compete in all, and you average your scores together and see who's the king of Canton.
I can promise you that at least one person in that household is going to listen to this episode. And once that one person, James, listens to it, fallback, he will tell his dad, and then he will listen to it. And he is very open to any ideas he's very proud of Canton Township, as everyone that lives in Canton Township is.
Yeah.
It's like Rockford, but better.
Yeah.
Sucks less. Better outdoor stuff.
Lower taxes.
Way lower taxes. And we can mooch off their school system. It's fine. It works out. But, yeah, that's on the horizon. And hopefully by the next episode, which will probably be a little while for a real episode because Craig's going to be up north for a little bit, we can have more information about it. But I thought you'd be interested.
Yeah.
Because Trifecta was a good time.
That was a fun time.
After Trifecta, also a good time.
Yeah.
Tell me about Trifecta.
Oh, Trifecta was just we came up with an idea. Let's do, at the time, 3 trails. It was originally Ski Hill, State Game, and Luton. Okay. And then we built Merrill, and then we built Wallfield, and then we were told we really can't do the State Game area in the event, so we got rid of it. And so the Trifecta had a great name.
We encourage
to it.
people not to ride it during this fundraiser.
Right, exactly. And
Not a race.
It's not a race.
Yep.
And but that's where the whole quad and quadzilla, if you might probably have heard it, and it's just you ride everything. And when I was training for my Margie Gessick race, which was my Margie Gessick 2.2, by the way, that was the year that it got really hot. And it was like 50 degrees earlier in the week. And then by the time we got to race day, it was 96 degrees. And it was humid. And all the roots and rocks were kind of wet and slimy and sweating. And we went up the big hill at the ski hill, and then we in Marquette. And then it was all downhill at that point. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to have fun. And whoop, I'm down. And I went to get my bike, and I fell right back. And and that's kind of one of those, I'm laying there, and she's like, hey, Kevin, how you doing? Hey, Kevin, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. And I'm like, they're like saying, hey, you okay? And they just keep riding, It's like, no, I'm not. I'm dead here. I think my brain is hanging out of my head. But still, yeah, well, good ride, But I came out of that, and where was I going with that? But training, I say all that to tell you I did that. We did that a couple times as a group ride, and that's a long ride. That's a fun ride.
That's a big day.
It's a big day.
We did the Carzilla.
The Carzilla was.
I rode everything, and you guys drove between the trails.
I like doing the Quadzilla better, to be honest with you, because you cool down in the car. You go from one trail and drive to the next, and you ride another trail. And I just felt like then you get back to the trail and you're like, I don't really want to ride anymore. But when you're riding to get to the trail and you got to ride to the next trail and ride back, you kind of have to do it.
Yeah, sitting just long enough for your legs to get stiff.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely is a thing.
Yep, exactly right.
Oh, well, I can tell you that I rode that ride, and it also sucks riding the whole way because it's 85 miles.
How long does that take you?
I don't remember. I'd have to look at my Strava. It was a while.
It was 85 miles with a trip back home and all that too, wasn't it?
I mean, I live on the trail.
Well,
it's 3 houses down the other way.
Exactly right, yeah.
With a couple 100-foot detour.
Yeah. So I wasn't bad, but it used to be, for a long time, especially when we were on the board, the WMBA made a whole lot of money from beer sales.
Yeah.
We got our 501c3 so we could do more beer pouring at races. So we did Barry Bay, we did Yankee Springs Time Trial, we did Trifecta, and we would get the proceeds of buying the keg at cost or whatever, and then
Well, a
or
lot
they
of that was donated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Founders was really good at doing that for the longest time, and they would donate it, but we would have to buy it, and then they would reimburse us. You know, and so it's still again, whatever we brought in was ours. We made a lot of money. I remember being at the Barrel Bay. Oh my gosh! And we're taking the money box because there's so much cash in there, and I'm putting it in the center console of my pickup truck, and I'm like, there's like $30,000 sitting in here. You know? Oh my gosh. I hope nobody saw me pull this. No, we're just going to change our underwear is what we're doing. You know, take my chamois off. You know, that's what I'm doing. That's my chamois in there. You don't want to go in there. Yeah. Yeah, not $30,000. No.
So the WMMBA essentially had their own liquor license for a bit? Is
No,
that what-
we would pull a liquor license, but when you had a 501c3, it was just a little bit easier, and it's a fundraiser. And
You didn't have to get a sponsor, wasn't that it? Like, we have to have a sponsor before, or we were allowed to do like 7 more or something. There was a reason we went through all that hurdles to get that 501c3.
yeah, which was a good thing. Well, it's a nonprofit organization, and people can donate, they can write it off and stuff like that. It's there's benefits right across the board.
The other benefit of pouring the beer, though,
Yeah.
is that once you tap a keg, you own it.
Yeah, you do.
And you just got to get it back sometime in the week or 2 after.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we have stories about that, but we probably should not go into that.
One involved a keg in the front seat of my Excursion that was buckled in to the front seat with a tap in it.
It's not an open container.
Yeah, technically.
And we ended up at Bill Hersick's house playing guitar till whenever.
And then at one time we were at Ski Hill, and you had all those really heavy octane ones.
Yeah, I was the fancy beer pour for like
Yeah.
KBS and like Backwoods Bastard and stuff. And the kegs were open. We owned them at that point. So we went up and we got to the Culligan man, and we bribed him basically
For a jug.
for jugs, multiple jugs.
Yeah.
And we filled these jugs up and put them in my van, and we brought them to ski area. And we did our ride and digs, or dig and ride at Canonsburg, and we had all this beer. And there were nights that people stayed in the ski hill, like Andy and Jordan who worked there. They camped in hammocks in the maintenance building.
I mean, you guys with gallon jugs, you're basically Hooters waitresses walking around with KBS and
Yeah, right.
Dirty Bastard.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
That was the good old days.
Well, I just have to say something. Craig, we just met tonight. I think we've seen each other out and about, so I've never had one-on-one experience. Kellen, it's always fun. You're always there to help people, teach them how to manual, or, can you go do this? And you do it, and it's just fun. It's always fun watching you. And Brian, I love your giving spirit. You're willing to bend over backwards and help anybody get better in this sport. And this whole podcast, it really encapsulates what who you are, and I appreciate that. You ride behind me. You've ridden behind me before. You got to do this. You got to do that. And you make me a better rider, and you do that with other people as well. And you teach me how to manual, which I have to work on that more. But anyway, I could track stand like nobody else, but but the manual thing. But I just appreciate your giving spirit. So I appreciate that. You guys have this podcast, and it's an honor to be here. I'll be honest with you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You were on my big board of important people to get, and I
Important.
was very happy to be able to get you and make it work. Had to do it at the right time.
Yeah.
Timing felt right this time.
I was when we first talked about it, I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about on this thing? I don't know. I'm like, oh, we have some stuff to talk about. We could have fun. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the compliments. That is very cool. I don't want to get all weepy.
Yeah. I love you, man. Oh.
I haven't had that many brapples yet.
Yeah, that's
Can I
right.
go out on a limb?
Go ahead.
I think he needs a part 2.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you're willing.
I wouldn't do a part 2. It'd be kind of fun. Get some of us old school guys in here.
Get a Martin Hall and a Rick Plight in
Yep.
here at the same time, and just let them go like a Marnie Tincate style. Just wind them up, and here you go.
As long as you don't lean around the microphone to talk to
No.
your friend on the other side of the table, then we'll be all right.
Okay, gotcha. Well, so far I've not even touched the windscreen here. So.
One thing I have noticed about those of us that are now old school,
Yeah.
is there's definitely a burnout from being on the board
Yeah.
and involved, and it's awesome, and you get other people involved, but it's more work than people realize. So
It is.
anyone that's listening, make sure you thank someone that's on the board.
Yep.
Dan as the president,
Yeah.
everyone. Even if they're not doing exactly what you want,
Right.
it is impossible to make everyone happy.
And he's a volunteer.
He's a volunteer.
Yeah,
We are
no
all
one's getting
volunteers.
paid.
Yep.
And
I when I was on the board, I fought for an extra zero on my paycheck of 0. So I got like 8 zeros. And so
It was a point of pride.
it was point of pride. It's about principle. So
But one of the things that I've seen lately that has been awesome is to see Ben LeDuc, to see you,
Yeah.
to see everyone that did get burned out is starting to like creep back in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling Justin the other day, I'm like, well, I'm not digging at every digging ride, but you got a shovel in my hand, and that's a step because I was pretty burned out in 2020.
sure.
And that-
It does take a toll out of you. I mean, you're out there, you're giving your time, your soul, your arms, and your back. It can take a toll out of you. Like I said, it is being on the board for everybody, is being the president for everybody. No, some people just don't understand what it
10
really
years.
takes. Yeah,
10 years.
yeah, it's not that-
I barely did 4 years, and I was ready to be.
and it's funny because I was like, I have no interest of stepping down, and all of a sudden one day it just clicked in me. I said, you know what? I think I'm done. It's time to turn it over to somebody else, and that's okay. It's okay to do that, and I like what I'm seeing out there right now. I like some of the things that are happening, and they're reaching out to people and a little bit more boisterous and, working with people. And I just love that,
Yeah, once I got over that's not how I would have done it.
Got to
It's a
check
lot
the ego
better.
at the door. It's kind of, yeah.
That's not how I would have done it, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Michigan mountain biking's in an interesting place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We've got, at least my group of friends, we've got a bunch of downhill guys, enduro guys. We like jumps. We like progressive features.
Sure.
And then you've got a subsection of XC trail oriented folks that we got to have a ton of miles for everybody.
Yeah.
So Michigan really strikes a balance,
Yeah.
in my opinion, of you got to cater to both
Yeah.
to some extent. On one hand, you have where mountain biking has typically lived, and then on the other side, you've got where it's heading. And if you have the elevation to support it,
Yeah.
you're going to have a blossoming community.
Well, and the cool thing about Michigan, what we do take advantage of is what we have. We make the best of what we have. You come out to Grand Rapids, show me anywhere else where you have this variety of trails. There might be places, they might have better trails or what have you, but we have such a variety that we really try to make the best out of everything that we have out here. Look what we did at Merrill. Look what's been done recently there, and it's people have spoken, they listened, and now there's a 2 designated downhill runs, and I think that's great, and all we can do is do what we have, I mean, yeah, I'd like to be 6'4" and, handsome and whatever. And, I'm not. I'm 5'9", and I'm never going to get any bigger, So we don't have those big downhill runs like out in North Carolina or what have you, other places. So, we make the best of it. And that's
Yeah,
what we
I
can
know
do.
we've said it before, but it's easy to complain about what you
Yeah.
have and nitpick every little thing, and there would be tons of other people that would die just to have what we have here.
Oh, absolutely.
It's easy to complain about what you have when you have it.
Yeah.
But when you don't have anything, man, you'd kill to just have a little bit of anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'll go out on a limb and say that we have the best trail to scene like ratio. We travel a ton.
Mm-hmm.
We go everywhere, and we go to really cool places. They don't have the same community
Yeah.
when the trails are better.
Yeah.
Like we have the balance between like solid trails in a really good community.
Yeah.
And I'll take the community over having the best trails because I can always drive and go ride other trails, and it's not that big of a deal. And bike trips are fun, but like you don't get a community. Like you can't just make that happen.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right. Yeah. It's got to come about. And, and once again, it's, that's what I love going back to your question. What's some of my favorite things about being the president? Once again, it wasn't about being the president. It was about being a part of something that's just huge. And it was just and it was just coming together. I don't want to wasn't say just coming together, but just how people came together, and just I had no idea where we were going to go with this, but I just kept on saying, let's just go further. Let's go do this. We've tried this before, it didn't work. Well, let's try it a different way, and come on, everybody, let's do it. And trying to get everybody together, and just the whole community working together, and we just have a great gig out here. Let's put it that way.
Got any closing questions, Craig?
Man,
Michigan's cool.
Michigan's cool. I love Michigan. You always got your maps with you.
Yeah, I got one fun one we kind of ended on. So being president for almost a decade, is there one comment that somebody said to you that stuck out in your head that you will always remember?
There's probably several. I probably shouldn't repeat them. It depends. What is this? It
could be a good one.
Yeah,
it's got to be a good comment.
just something you're like, I can't believe that guy said that, or something like that. Something just really stuck out to you.
I've had several people come up and want me to hold their babies and then take pictures. I'm like,
hold them, kiss the babies.
Yeah,
and shake hands.
or hey, I want you to meet my son. Take a picture. I'm like I'm a celebrity. Like I'm, George Clooney or something. Like, oh my goodness,
I'm just the guy that raised his hand.
You can do this too, and I'm no one special compared to some of the people who were pioneers before me, and I just did my time. It was an honor to do my time when I was there, and I think it was just a great experience. I will never regret doing, and coming back in the fold like you're talking. I mean, you can only go so far for so long, and you just kind of go, man, I just want to go out and hang out with my buddies. I want to go build some trails. I want to go do something,
Do you remember sitting in Peddler's Pub at the IMBA World Summit?
Okay.
And we were sitting next to a woman that was the president of Evergreen West, who was like on a 6-figure salary. And she was like fanboying what we were doing in West Michigan with the community and stuff.
I vaguely remember something like that. Yeah.
We were sitting there like drinking beers, and she like got us beers and pizza and stuff.
We have a great, you're talking about how you love Michigan mountain biking. We do have a great, we have great respect around the country. I've been to places, down in Bentonville, over in Knoxville, or Santa Fe when I was there. Oh, you're from Michigan? No kidding. Grand Rapids? No kidding, man. We hear a lot of good stuff about that, and it's kind of cool when you're across the country and you say you're from Michigan, and they're like, dude, yeah, you guys got something going on. That's pretty cool stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about some. So something like that. When you're across the country and somebody says, you're from Michigan? Man, I heard about that. You really have something going. That's something really exciting. Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about
just
that.
Knowing you're the president and be like, yep.
Yeah, it's because it's me.
Yep, that's me. My name's on the trail.
I tell them what to do, and they do it, and everything's good. That's what it is.
That was the most radio you've got this entire episode.
You definitely got the best voice of anyone we've had on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I'm a little hoarse today. I don't know what I got. I think it was, I did a spin class today, so I was huffing and puffing. I when I ride, I read this thing about, if you want to see how to get better and get strength, look what animals do. Do you ever see a horse be quiet? No, they're huffing and puffing. And I'm like, yeah, they're huffing and puffing and distributing their breath and what have you and their energy and stuff like that. So I learned that, and I sound like a horse when I ride. So and I get a little hoarse in the throat. So yeah, can't always do my radio voice for you. I used to do that. I used to do the Love Light show in Lansing. It was, the call in, play the soft music, and Joanne, Donnie really does love you, and he says, I'm sorry. So here's this song for you. And the calls I would get at that station, you don't want to go there. But
who's vetting the callers?
It was me. Yeah.
So you're talking directly to the caller?
Now, it wouldn't be straight on the air.
Okay.
I mean, but sometimes I would put them on, and I'd say, so what did he do? Oh, he's just so mean to me. Oh, you should just tell him I love you. Or, I'd see something stupid like that. It was fun.
You're basically a psychologist. A silky smooth voice.
Yeah. Now, I wish that the TV show Frasier would have been out when I was on the air, because I would have learned from Frasier. It would have been my training program. So anyway, if you ever saw that show, he was a radio psychologist on the air. But anyway. Oh my gosh.
Well, ending on that note, well, we appreciate having you on. We appreciate all the work you've done for West Michigan biking. I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody knows you have to deal with and go through, and I know it's tough. And thanks for doing all that for us.
Tough, but worth it.
Yep. And we appreciate it. Anything you'd like to plug before we go? Your realtor sites or where to find you or anything?
Well, Kevin Allen Group, Keller Williams. Yeah, if you're looking to buy or sell, I got you there. Not going to use my this period to do that. I don't think that's right.
Well, we appreciate having you on and plug whatever you need.
Plug away. Well, I'm just going to plug for the people who are out there and going, can I get involved? What can I do to help? Get involved. If there's a trail day, go do it. If you can get involved some way, somehow to make this community better and make our trails better, go do it because it's so worth it. It is absolutely so worth it. It's like, how is it worth it? Well, it's like, how do you describe the taste of a banana? You just got to take a bite. Take a bite, man. Get out there and do it, and you'll understand it for yourself and make your own trails.
And you don't need a thing other than a little bit of time.
That's it.
Check Facebook. Yep. Check Instagram. Wimba on Facebook, Wimba on Instagram. Yeah. They post every trail day. Keep an eye out.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Volunteer, donate, do whatever you can.
There you go.
Help us out.
That's it.
Well, yeah, thanks. Appreciate having you on. It's
My pleasure.
Been fun. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And like always, remember to keep progressing, keep pushing yourself, and have fun. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.